Right, you want to do an introduction, mate? Just say any old thing, and we'll go.
Like, I'm coming. That's what I've heard on the last TV for the last 10 minutes. It's just, I'm coming.
Hey, I was playing Dragon Ball, not watching anything dirty. Anyway, let's go. The Simpsons Hit and Run is basically a Grand Theft Auto game set in the Simpsons universe. As such, it allows you to realise your dreams of Tokyo drifting your way around Springfield in a penis-shaped rocket car. It also lets you, while playing as Homer, kick the ever-loving shit out of your spouse, something the creator of The Simpsons fully endorsed.
Okay, so Karl, some people just might not have played Simpsons Hit and Run.
It's okay, you can say it, they might not have had a childhood. And for those people, we'll explain. Basically, it is, for all intents and purposes, a Grand Theft Auto game set in the Simpsons universe. And you think we're being hyperbolic about that, I should point out that Radical Entertainment, the people who made The Simpsons Hit and Run, openly admitted that they took inspiration not only from the design and gameplay of the Grand Theft Auto series, but also its approach to character development. And for a moment, Lucas, let's just reminisce about that wonderful era where every game was trying to be Grand Theft Auto and just fucking failed. Because for people who don't know what we're talking about, there was an era shortly after Grand Theft Auto 3 was released, and then even more so after San Andreas was released, where every video game just wanted to be Grand Theft Auto, leading to the coining of the term GTA clones. And Lucas, what is your favourite GTA clone?
I mean, funnily enough, it does actually have to be Simpsons Hit and Run.
That's the one, because it's the only good one. It's the only one that didn't just utterly fail or was embarrassing in its execution.
We had the ones like the Getaway and like the Driver series and True Crime, Streets of LA and stuff like that, but they just weren't the same.
Yeah, and then you've got like the Mafia series, which try to do it. Like people always forget about Mafia 1, 2, and 3. And then you've got my favourite though was the Getaway, because that's the one where you heal by just leaning against a wall, like you've been winded in a like it's like that, and you just physically see the bullet wounds just suck into your player model. It's like, who knew that British people could heal from bullet wounds by just leaning gently against a wall?
Did you not know, Karl?
Just like a dad who's been winded running for his fish and chips.
Oh,
it's, like, it's so bad.
I'll need a rest.
And the only good thing about True Crime is like the idea of the multiple ending system. Do you remember that?
I don't.
Well, basically, if you failed a mission, you could still continue with the story and get a bad ending.
Oh, okay.
And one of the most fun things to do in it was just fail every single mission. So I think the ending is your guy gets thrown off a building.
To be fair, I'd have loved like, Niko Bellic got hit by a taxi, game over. Like, that's just the bad ending.
Well, you do get the bad ending in Grand Theft Auto, don't you, when Roman dies? It's like, no. So I remember what I did for that. When Roman dies, and I was so fucking pissed off that Roman died, I strolled into the final confrontation. I didn't take cover. Because Niko Bellic does not take fucking... And I made sure I bought every single RPG round I could afford, and I announced my arrival at the final battle by firing an RPG round into the air.
So you just Deadpooled it, basically.
Basically, yeah.
So Hit and Run was great, but it seems quite weird pairing like the cartoony Simpsons with the violence of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, and there were a lot of detractors about the idea internally at Radical, some of whom said, well, this game allows you to just commit random acts of violence against the denizens of, Springfield, which doesn't seem like something Homer Simpson would do. Something I'd like to counter with any clip of Homer Simpson doing exactly that. One of my favourite ones being where it's just Bart just getting chased down the street by Homer with a mace. They spinning and just going, I'm going to mace you, good boy.
I'll mace you good. That is completely taken out of context.
And the thing a lot of people forget is that, canonically, Homer Simpson is like an expert hand-to-hand combatant. 'Cause do you remember the Bigger Brother episode?
I'm not sure I do.
It's an early episode of The Simpsons where Bart goes to like a Bigger Brother type service. He says he hasn't got a dad. And Homer gets so pissed off he has a fist fight. And during that fist fight, Homer uses like living sea creatures as ninja stars. It's fucking awesome.
Hold
And who can forget like the Whacking Day episode where he does a full 360 backflip through the air and then knocks the head off 3 like solid wooden snakes with his whacking pole? But I was annoyed that in that game, the combat is limited to just like kicking people.
Just in the shin.
As opposed to like the triple backflip head slap that he does in that episode.
So you said there was a kick in the game.
Yeah,
I guess
like-
it was quite controversial for like Homer to be running around kicking people.
Yes, there was a like dedicated kick or melee button that you could use while running around Springfield in that game, and it was the most controversial addition to gameplay. And a lot of people in turn are like, well, as fun as it is to kick the shit out of people as Homer Simpson and just hearing going, I am evil Homer, it's probably not going to fly with anyone at Fox. And even more especially, Matt Groening.
So obviously Matt Groening, like the creator of Simpsons, wouldn't approve of this. Did they try to like hide it from him at all?
Yeah, they were really worried that Matt Groening was very hands-on. In fact, all of the writing crew for The Simpsons at the time and the voice actors. And Radical were basically given full unlimited access to that resource. And they were like, well, if we piss them off, they might take that away, or even the license away from us entirely. And it's noted that when like Matt Groening came to visit, they didn't show that off in the builds of the game they had. And that all changed though when they actually handed a controller to Groening himself and asked him to explore the game. And according to people present that day, literally the first thing Matt Groening did is realise there was a kick button and then walk over and kick Marge in the ass. And that alone is hilarious. But then he proceeded to kick Marge's just like fumbling corpse along the ground all the way to the Quickie Mart while laughing his ass off.
Out of my way, chump. Don't worry, that should heal fast.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh god, yeah.
Just the fact it's the first thing he did. Just you realise, oh wow, you can kick people. What happens if I kick Marge?
Does that mean it's officially Homer's base instinct?
I don't know, because he did create the character, but just After they saw Matt Groening do that and they realised he found it hilarious, they weren't so worried about that button or action being included in the game, because at that point it doesn't matter who else gets annoyed by it. Matt Groening said he's okay. Do you know what makes this story just a little bit better, Lucas?
Oh, go on.
Do you want to just hazard a guess at how long Groening kicked Marge for? Just throw out just a number.
I'm gonna guess like at least 10 minutes.
Just keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Like 20?
20 minutes, yes. He spent 20 minutes kicking Marge down the road, just laughing his ass off the entire time. Because just the absurdity of this situation just made him giggle. And as you can imagine, after that point, arguments about whether or not a dedicated kick button in that game stopped immediately, and they just focused on making it the best game it could be. And
I mean,
I'm glad that they did.
If it's not a running endorsement for the mechanic.
I don't know what the fuck else is. So since we're talking about video games today, specifically dumb, stupid stuff you can do in video games, Lucas, you got any stories of silly things you've done while playing games?
Yeah, so I actually had one not too long ago. I was playing one of the Borderlands games.
Okay.
And I realised that when you interact with a certain character, their animation resets them slightly off-center to where they were.
Okay.
And funnily enough, they were standing at the end of a ledge.
Okay.
So I spent about 15 to 20 minutes just refreshing the animation, interacting with them over and over until they slowly just pushed themselves off the side of the of the stage.
Just fell into oblivion. Oh man, well, one that I like doing is mashing X as hard. If you have a sprint button, mash it as hard as you can. And I've recently been playing through like Yakuza 0, and it works so well in that game. So if you mash it super fast, just Kiryu just goes duh, 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 duh. It's like, yeah, that's what you look at this shit. This is why I'm such a big dick baller in the Yakuza. Can anyone else reset their walk animation as fast as I can?
It reminds me, that one, of just almost every single time I get a third-person game.
Spin them around on the spot.
But first thing I try, someone hands me the pad, and you just twirl the control stick as quickly as possible.
And the thing is, no video game character can do that as good as Agent 47, because in every game you've ever had in the Hitman series, he can just rotate at hyperspeed. And I'll never forget the gif I saw. If it's like a dance party or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like people on the dance floor dancing. Agent 47 walks in, spins around on the spot, and then walks off the dance floor, and all the patrons just pull out guns and start shooting him. Because his suspicion meter just goes straight up. And I'd like to think that's not actually a gameplay bug or anything because it's been in so many of them.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just a skill that 47 has.
Well, it's similar to a Metal Gear Solid, isn't it?
Oh, man, yeah.
When he does it, he can just spin on the spot and just stand up and down as well. He can crouch while spinning at 500 miles an hour.
It's like, you know what? This is what the boss taught me. you question the validity of CQC. You see this shit, motherfuckers.
The truest skill.
It's no wonder he's got such a big bubble butt in Smash Bros. Brawl, is it?
God. What do you think he does under the box, Karl?
It's all he does is clenches all day. Oh man, the greatest soldier who's ever lived. And you just look onto the battlefield, just see him rotating as fast as he can.
I just love the idea, combine that with the system they had in, was it Metal Gear Solid 5, when you could just pluck people out of the air?
Yes.
Just use that system on Snake while he just rotates. Just becomes like a helicopter.
All they see is just that. My favourite one is if you double tap equip and re-equip your weapon, it fully reloads it in a split second, but you can do it with a rocket launcher. And I think that's the greatest soldier in history right there. Reloading a rocket launcher in 1/4 of a second.
You could do it in Metal Gear Solid 3 with this Shagahod at the end, and you've just got so much rocket launcher ammo, but this man of a man is just insta-reloading rockets.
Just firing rockets like a fucking machine gun. It's almost like, have you ever played Modern Warfare 2?
Oh, yeah.
There was a glitch in Modern Warfare 2 where randomly your weapon didn't need to be reloaded.
Oh, okay.
And it affected everything in the game, including the AC-130. So you've got the AC-130, you could fire the 105mm cannon just as fast as you could pull the trigger. So it's like, okay, the world ends now. It's like, carpet bomb ain't got shit on my AC-130.
Oh, man.